What's up, fellas? Today I'm going to be making one of my longer videos. This will be getting posted on YouTube and maybe a few clips. Make it to my Instagram for just some segments that apply to whatever. So it's going to be a little bit of a more in-depth explanation on some stuff. Today is going to be stability. I'm going to be talking about stability, some stuff like who it affects, how you can benefit from it, different ways to train stability. Because there's a few different ways you can train your stability. I'm sorry if I'm going to be looking at my screen just a little bit more. I don't have it completely memorized. It is a little bit of a longer video. It might be about 10 minutes, maybe. Everything I pretty much wrote myself. I had it touched up just a little bit on some grammar and stuff. I hope you guys like it. We're talking about stability. When most people hear the word stability, they think about standing on something wobbly, like a Bozu ball, and trying not to fall over. Stability is way bigger than that. At its core, stability is your ability to maintain control and resist unwanted movement while producing the movement you want. So if you're sprinting, it's what keeps your trunk and hips in line when you put force into the ground, resisting what you don't want while creating what you do want. That's stability. Where does this really matter? Honestly, it matters everywhere. In day-to-day life, stability shows up in all the simple stuff you don't think about. Standing, walking, holding things, jumping, pushing, pulling, starting and stopping movement. As you get older, it becomes even more essential because poor stability doesn't just make you wobbly, it pushes your injury risk way up. About 1 in 4 adults over the age of 65 experiences a fall every year. Falls are the #1 cause injury-related death in adults age 65 and older. Roughly 95% of hip fractures are caused by falls. Those aren't rare incidents. That's what happens when your body can't control where it is in space. For athletes, the stakes look just a little different. The story is the same. Being able to accelerate and deaccelerate without tearing something is pretty important if you want to actually stay in your sport for a long time. Every cut, every stop, every change of direction puts stress on your joints. And if you don't have the stability to risk that unwanted motion, all that force goes into the wrong places. That's the difference between a clean cut and a blown ACL. It's the difference between your quarterback finishing the season or watching it from the sidelines. Stability also matters for a group of people that you don't really see when you think of training. People with cognitive impairments. So this includes conditions like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, or mild cognitive impairment. Stability and balance can work and help improve neural activity in areas of the brain that deal with spatial awareness and coordination. That's your parietal lobe and your cerebellum, essentially. So this isn't just a performance topic. It encompasses older adults, general population, people with neurological conditions, neurological issues, athletes as well. If you have a body, stability training applies to you. To understand how to train it, it helps to know what's actually doing the work. You've got two main types of muscle function involved in stability: local stabilizers and global prime movers. Local stabilizers are the smaller muscles that quietly keep the joints centered and controlled. Muscles like your transverse abdominals, internal obliques, teres minor, rhomboids, and gluteus medius, and your rotator cuff, of course. They don't usually get the spotlight during movement to keep everything lined up. You've got your global prime movers, the big obvious muscles that create most of the visible movement you see. Most of the visible movement and force that you see. That's lats, pecs, quads, hamstrings, and all those big muscle groups. When you move, both systems are working. Good stability training respects that it doesn't just wobble around. Good stability training respects that it doesn't just wobble around on a gadget and ignore force production. That brings us to how most people try to train stability. One of the most popular tools is the Bozu ball. To be clear, it does do something. It's not useless. It should not be the beginning and the end of your stability journey. Standing on a Bozu ball and calling it stability work is like eating one vegetable and saying all of your nutrition is handled. It's a tiny piece of the whole picture. A more complete approach to stability has a few different paths that all lead toward the same goal: better control, better movement, and fewer injuries. Unilateral training is one of those paths. Anytime you train one side at a time, single leg squats, lunges, single arm presses, single arm rows, you're forcing your body to keep your form from tipping, twisting, collapsing while only one side is doing the work. If you really love the Bozu ball, fine, you can keep it. Please pair it with unilateral work and actually challenge your control instead of just hoping your ankles will figure out that movement. Another powerful and honestly underused approach is anti-movement training. The idea is pretty simple. Instead of creating movement, you're training your body not to move. Not to move in certain directions. Anti-rotation is about resisting twisting. Sorry. Anti-rotation is about resisting twisting. A classic example is a Pallof press. Anti-extension is about preventing your lower back from excessively arching, and planks are a simple, effective version of that. Anti-flexion is about resisting your torso from collapsing forward. Front-loaded carries, like a front rack carry, do a great job there. These don't look flashy. You're probably not going to see them all over social media. They build a level of control that shows up everywhere else in your training. Then there's reactive stability, which is my favorite type of training stability. You see this a lot in weightlifting and powerlifting circles, especially in Westside inspired gyms, thanks to Louis' impact on the strength training community. The setup is very straightforward. You can use a straight bar, a bamboo bar, a cambered bar, or a Cadillac bar, pretty much whatever you've got. You take a resistance band and you loop it through the center hole of a plate or a kettlebell, then hang that from the bar. Depending on how much room you have from the floor to the bar, you'll usually wrap the band through the plate or kettlebell about 2 times. Now, when you bench, the plates or kettlebells are bouncing just a bit and trying to pull the bar in different directions. You don't get to relax into a groove. You have to lock in and push in a straight line in a way you probably never have before. If you run higher volume bench work with that setup, you're not just hitting your chest and triceps, you're going to be hammering your stabilizers. You're refining your bar path, you're building tolerance to lactic acid in a way normal benching just doesn't. If you're an athlete and you're not training your stability in at least 2 different ways, something like a mix of anti-movement and reactive stability, you really need to reevaluate the way your programming is. Now, you can be strong on paper and still be unstable in reality. Increasing stability doesn't just help you lift more weight. It helps you maintain solid form when you're tired, it makes movement cleaner, and it lowers your risk of getting hurt. Again, this isn't just about athletes. This applies to older adults trying to avoid falls, people dealing with cognitive or neurological issues who want to keep their independence as long as possible, to the general population that just wants to move better, feel better, and have more control of their body. Stability is not some niche advanced topic. It's a fundamental skill. If you take away anything from this, let it be this. Don't treat stability like a gimmick. Don't let it begin and end with a Bosu ball. Pick at least one of these methods, unilateral work, anti-movement, or reactive stability, and start putting it into your training on purpose. Over time, you'll move better, feel better, and you'll give yourself a much better chance at staying healthy long enough to do the things you actually care about. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something from it. If you did learn something from it, please leave a like and a comment. Thank you.